Hello and welcome to this episode of the Artist Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Goslow, and it is a Sunday night here in Sacramento, California, and I thought tonight would be a good chance to just kind of do a little bit of reflecting on the podcast so far and on this journey that I've been on since I started it. Although I knew from the beginning that I wanted to interview people and have them on the show, I didn't really know how it would all work out, of course. I knew I wanted to interview creative people, and I knew that I wanted to do some kind of collaboration when they came on the show. But I didn't know that I would get so into the video aspect. It's all kind of opened up a bunch of different creative activities, mostly around video. But obviously not just video, because here we are, you're listening to me. But I didn't really expect how much video would be a big part of this. So, for example, going into the print gallery a few weeks back was a big surprise. The process of editing and putting together that video was really fun overall and creatively interesting for me. And then the following week, or a couple weeks later, I had Michelle on to do comedy. The thing that comes to mind is how much these projects were also organic, and I didn't know how they would all go, but I followed my intuition, and I trusted the ideas that came. When I created this podcast, I knew it might morph and change, and now I have this series of recordings, multimedia formats, that makes me even wonder if it should even be called a podcast. Maybe it's a vlog. Of course, right now it's just a recording. So, and I knew that was possible, that it might end up being changing in different ways. And I just said, that's okay. As an artist nowadays, I'm just putting stuff out and seeing what's happening, seeing what's going to happen with it. I'm doing that with my daily blog, myhappinessobsession.com. And I've been doing that with this, just kind of going with it. For example, with the print gallery, I forget now if I knew I wanted to do video or not, but I didn't think it all through. And then the idea of doing this sort of visit video where you go in and then you say hi to, I said hi to Sharon there, and I look around and like have a lot of B-roll footage. I didn't know exactly what kind of project that would be until I was doing it. Similarly with Chef Stephanie, when she came, I did not know ahead of time that having her cook something and shooting some footage of that would be so effective as it was. And and I basically just thought of it the day before we met and invited Chef Stephanie, or I called her and said, what do you think about making a little dish? Then as far as Michelle, I knew I wanted to do some musical comedy with her, but the idea of actually doing a music video did not occur to me until also the 11th hour, I believe. But anyway, I just went with it. And I've talked about that in the past too, going with the inspiration, and it definitely has worked out. If I had just kept the podcast simple audio recording and not experimented in these ways, it would not have been nearly as rich of an experience. Now it's got me thinking new ideas about these sort of things and how I could do more of these things. Doing the video with Michelle was just so much fun that I'm just thinking about how to do more entertainment videos, entertaining. So, it's just food for thought. And I'm in this position right now, just giving it some thought about where I want to go with it. By the way, if you haven't yet viewed any of those videos, they're on a list here on my channel for the Artist Mindset Podcast. As of now, you never know. Could change later. I'm not sure what exactly is going to happen. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because you sort of, I think, have to ride the uncertainty sometimes. You don't know how everything's going to go. If you're a creative artist, you just don't know. But you want to go with, it's going to go. And you want to go with that. Anybody who sits down to write a piece of music or a musical or a song or an album, I don't think they know how it's going to go. Unless they're Mozart and they have a brain that just has it all contained inside already and they know. For me, it's sort of unfolding. It's always unfolding as I go, and I learn as the material comes out what it might be. And then I make choices to edit it and change it and work it. And that's across the board, whether that's a blog post, a composition, a song, or a video, or a podcast episode. A podcast episode has a slightly different context because it is meant to be linear and it's a discussion. So it's a simple matter of usually just editing out a few things. But in the case of the music video I did with Michelle, I just took footage and I didn't know exactly how it was all going to work out. We did the whole experience over a trip to the laundromat and then back. And so there's a kind of crazy adventurous quality, just, guerrilla style to the max. And I just ended up with this footage and then put my mind to it and ended up making it work. And even the bloopers or the problems with the performance, which were all mine, where I didn't get my lyrics correct, ended up being a funny joke. I used it as a way to make humor, and it all worked out, I think, because I was in the zone. I was, able to be flexible and intuitive and put it all together. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening, you won't know that I posted the video for Intensity on Facebook and got like 500 views, and a bunch of friends liked it and whatnot, and that's been really fun, and that's an example of what I'm talking about. In case you didn't know, that's the song that Michelle and I created, Michelle Petro, from the 2 episodes ago. I really feel that I'm using Seth Godin's advice to poke the box. I really feel that way with my blog. I feel that way with this podcast, trying things out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, seeing what lands, and then in this case, reflecting on it in this public way. Although I have to say that I wasn't doing this reflection by myself, so putting on this recorder is helping me think through things. So on that note, I want to just say again also, thank you for everybody who's listened to the episodes. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying that. And I'm eager just to be more creative and open up things for the future. Okay, so now I am going to play a little music for you at the piano. In fact, this is a brand new piece. I just finished it a few days ago, and you're the first audience online to hear it, although I played it for a piano show yesterday, and I played it for a gathering of some family and friends on Friday night. So, this is the 3rd day in a row where I'm performing it. This piece is actually based on a chord progression from a rap song I wrote a long time ago. And in fact, that's kind of the inspiration for the music, is that I was thinking about where I was at that point personally, and I thought to myself, if I only knew then what I know now. And then I thought, what if I made a piece of music with that in mind? And so I ended up writing this piece, and it is called If I Only Knew Then What I Know Now. You know what? A couple things I'd like to say about that piece. And maybe it's completely in keeping with today's theme. That's what I consider my quote unquote serious composition, as in, something I work on to my own satisfaction, to make it how I want it to be. It's not just an improvisation, although it actually started as an improvisation. I had an idea, I recorded myself, and then I refined it. But even as I was playing it, it's such a fresh piece. There's a little voice in my head that's still the composer, kind of thinking, what do I want to do here? Do I like this? Is this how I want it? Do I want to change it? So even this could be subject to change, folks, because I feel like I'm putting myself out to perform it, but there's also the possibility I might want to reform it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I just want to say it is a joy for me to share creativity with those who listen to this podcast in whatever form it takes, the video, the podcast, etc. And it is a joy for me to be a creative. And it is who I am to the core. And I have a life that's built around it. And I love it. And I just love expanding it in interesting ways. And that was the idea behind this podcast. And I just want to say that it's been a fun journey so far. I've made new friends. I have strengthened friendships with people because of this podcast, because of having them on board. And it's been such a fun project. I've always been project oriented. I've always loved creative projects. But what's different about this from the previous sort of music videos I did in the past, CWIGs and so forth, is that this podcast is not about me. Sure, I'm in it. Sure, I play music. Sure, there's a component that I benefit from. But I feel that very strongly it's about creativity, creative people, and the interactions I have with creative people. I really feel strongly that what I'm doing is as much about the relationships with others as anything else. It is really nice to have a reason to reach out. I've really had fun, and I hope that you're enjoying it so far. Feel free to give me a comment, and I hope that you'll subscribe to this channel. And I love your ideas, or if you would like to team up with me and maybe partner on an idea for a podcast, let me know. And I think that'll be it for right now. Again, it has been a real pleasure. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.